today's workshop recording of the session that we had yesterday in real time at the Graaff Reinet Tourism Offices. The first workshop is tailor-made according to some responses that we received after we asked the community to hand in or to send through, submit a Google form with some information. And based on that, we took that and we constructed a very broad yet efficient and tailor-made workshop session for everyone interested. This session specifically aims at people who are not very confident necessarily with how to go about with their online marketing, and it's only the beginning. We are just giving you a broad idea of what we can work on in future workshops. So please fast forward if you want to, skip to parts that you would like to look at that specifically is for you. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy the show. This workshop is understanding online resources and platforms, and the objective is to familiarize ourselves with various online resources and platforms, assess our current knowledge level, and provide a foundational understanding of their usage. Their meaning our usage, your usage, the platform's usage, etc. Welcome, and this meme I thought was quite fitting for where we sometimes, or how we sometimes feel, either people assisting us or us assisting people, we kind of reach out for the alternative. Have you tried chewing on the cable? We are going to start off with a self-assessment activity, which everyone can participate in. You can either follow the presentation that was sent through via this email or the email that you received as well, and you can click on the link on the PDF, or you can simply scan with your phone if you have a phone that has a camera that scans, or you can download a QR code scanner as an app, either from the App Store or from the Google Play Store, or the Android, if you have an Android device on the Android Store, whatever, whichever is available to you. And you can simply scan this code. And for more information regarding how to create QR codes, you can also respond at the end of the session in the feedback survey and tick the box that says I want to learn more about QR codes if you are interested. In the meantime, you can click on this self-assessment activity, or you can scan this activity. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and quickly just show you something that is important there. Once you click on it or you scan it, you click on the link that takes you to the website, and here you will find a social media self-assessment quiz, which I think is quite appropriate for today's session. So I'm going to go ahead and answer randomly the questions. I'm not going to read through it. You can read through it by yourself. You can pause the video if you'd like and come back to the end of the quiz to see what we do from there. I'm just going to quickly just click on each or choose a random answer there, just so that we can get to the end, so that I can show you what you must look at the end and how this can help you guide your learning journey from here onwards without having to always attend or necessarily attend workshop after workshop. You can actually go and enjoy your own learning at your own pace via these platforms. And while I'm doing this, remember, there are so many platforms out there or places out there on the internet that you can learn from, that is more directed to what you need, what your needs are. So Google, obviously, as we all know, you can simply ask Google to help you find a solution or find an idea, etc. So don't hesitate, don't be afraid of searching and doing research online to find what you are looking for. After each question, you'll see they give you a tip as well. So I like this self-assessment activity that I found online by simply Googling and asking for give me some form of idea of how to self-assess ourselves. I like the tips that they give at the bottom there. So as you go through these questions to find out what your needs are, do read those tips. They are quite valuable, and you can even make notes as well. So we are almost done with the self-assessment activity, and if you are coming back shortly to this video, and after pausing it, you are now at the end. And it's funny because this is the one I received when I did do it myself as well. I'm quite average, well, maybe a little, I can't remember actually, but it was somewhere around there. So here you get to the end of this quiz, and this is just what I wanted to pinpoint out. From here onwards, what now? Now you've got your self-assessment, and they say you average, and you feel quite low about that. Don't be afraid. That's why they're doing this, because now at the bottom they say you're on your way, but here's what's next. Now you can go click on content creation or consistency or picking your platform, because that will give you the guidance in terms of what to do next. And if you click on the first one, and whatever yours says, you'll see it takes you to an external page which will give you more detailed ideas of how to approach and how to begin with your social media marketing, social media advertising, and actually social media ability, user ability for that matter. So that's just very important for me. I think with the first session there that we are doing in the training is to self-assess, find out where you are at, and that for me is very important. So let's continue. I'm going to go back and make this screen a little bit bigger again, because that's where we were. Oh, I don't know why. Let me just do this again. There we go. All right, so we are at the self-assessment activity, and once you are done with the self-assessment, bookmark or save or copy or print or keep the link aside that you can come back to this if you want to read further, doing some self-research and self-learning on that information that they give you, according and aligned with what you need. We're going to go ahead and look at some responses that we got from the audience that participated yesterday in the training that we did in Graaff Reinet at the tourism office, and you might have filled in the form as well. If you didn't, you are more than welcome to still go fill in that form that was sent last week for you to fill out if you wanted to attend the training. Perhaps you didn't, or you couldn't attend the training either online or in person, and you, or perhaps you thought you are more on a middle or above average space with regards to online marketing. That's fine. You are still welcome to go and enter or fill in or submit that form that was sent last week, because that gives me an idea of what do we need to cater for as our audience, or for our audience rather. So this was the responses, that some of the responses that we received, and the answers will follow in the next slides. We got a query about exactly how does the @ and the hashtag signs or symbols work in accordance with Instagram and Facebook, which we'll look at now. We have someone who was asking about how do they get access, or people to be distracted or pulled by their advertisements, and we'll talk about that a little. And then some the general knowledge or general comments was people feel a little bit insecure about their own knowledge, and maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed by everything, or they don't know how to best get some more audience or bigger audience for their product or for their services. And that's also something we are going to look at today. And some people, or there was also a comment at the bottom there about how to utilize Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter optimally, and ChatGPT to enhance the online visitor experience. Let me somewhere get my little red dot there so I can pinpoint it. So all of this, you are welcome to go back and forth on the presentation that accompanies this video. But basically, we are going to touch on some of the topics, and we are going to look at how we can best assist and give some advice or guidance according to this. And also one that I like is, how do you know if you are reaching your audience? I also enjoy that one, because that's something that I also always wonder about. So let's go ahead and go to the first one, that's about the @ and the hashtags. And here we can see, and you can read for yourself. I'm not going to read through the presentation, but basically, when you are on a social media platform such as the Meta suites. Now, the Meta suites, remember, used to be called Facebook or Instagram. So it's just now combined. WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram are all falling under the Meta suites, the Meta business suite. So if that's a topic of concern or a topic of interest or a topic of need for help, then that's something that you can mention in the post a workshop survey that you will submit at the end of the session, that we can tailor make that session specifically for people who need assistance with that. But coming back to the @ and the hashtags, an @ is simply a tag that you tag another person, another business, another company, a group of or a page or a person on Facebook, or a group on Facebook, which you would like to make them aware of or include them in your posts. Now, this obviously we can go much deeper into this. This is just a broader idea of what we use, what we're looking at. But basically, that person that you tag should get a notification saying someone tagged you in their post. Your settings on Facebook should be somewhat secure to the point where you kind of agree who tags you in what, because you don't want a random person to tag you in anything. So you should be able to get a notification if someone tags you, and then approve that notification or share it on your platform as well. While the hashtag symbol, as we discussed yesterday in the training, in the physical in-person training, is kind of, and I think one of the attendees, Jackie, mentioned this. It's like a catalogus in Afrikaans, a directory of information. Whatever you hashtag gets compartmentalized, whatever the English word is, gets put together under one kind of file. So in other words, you can go ahead and search online for a hashtag, say for instance, food in the Karoo, but now that's a long one, so let's use another example. Karoo food, hashtag Karoo food. If you go now on Instagram and you go search Karoo food and you click on the hashtag little button or little option there, it will give you all the Instagram photos that someone has hashtag Karoo food, and you yourself might find some of the stuff that you actually have tagged if you use the hashtag Karoo food. So hashtags simply put the information in one compartment, where if you have a client or a customer driving through the Karoo, they want to find out which guest houses can they visit. They search in the hashtag search option guest houses in the Karoo, or guest house Karoo, or Karoo guest house, or whatever the case may be, and what comes up is a pop-up of many different photos or Facebook streams of specific guest houses that actually use that hashtag, and from there they can pick up your business. So that's why that can be very important. I also think at this stage of the training, I mentioned that things like ChatGPT can help you figure out which hashtags best suits your post or your business that you can use over and over and over, which also then links again to our SEOs, which we can talk about in other sessions, and also about how and when do you use your hashtags. The usage on Instagram and Facebook is explained there for you, so you can go and have a look at that. And obviously it gets pulled through to both Instagram and Facebook. So regardless of whether you are posting it on Facebook or Instagram, it will get pulled through if you have set up your Facebook and Instagram in such a way, which you can, because they are integrated services. Now, there was also a query yesterday about which platform should they rather hashtag or on. I think the best answer would be to figure out what your demograph is, or your audience is, because at this stage you want to kind of approach your audience that is aligned with what you are doing. So if you've got a younger audience, possibly, and I don't have the statistics with me, and I don't know the statistics, so you can go and Google that actually, and follow the advice that we're giving throughout this presentation to go find what your demographic is in terms of your following. But if it's a younger following, most probably they will be using Instagram. So Instagram will be your main kind of posting service. And again, please do not go find out what works for you. It's not, everything's not set in stone. People are different, businesses are different. You might have a clientele that's young but only uses Facebook. I don't know. No, that's something that you'll have to find out for yourself. As I mentioned earlier, cross-platform interaction, luckily, because it's all falling under Meta Business Suites, that it is possible for you to hashtag and and it will get pulled through to the other platforms. If we move on, some people, one of the comments in the responses that we received was how to grab or how to get my people's attention to look at my advertisements. And basically, again, it's basic things, but perhaps that person was looking for something more in depth in terms of how do I create eye-catching visuals, or how do I make compelling offers and promotions, or how do I emphasize positive reviews and testimonials. And that is a session on its own. So if that's something you want to look at more in depth, then obviously you can go and add that to your post-workshop survey that you'll find the link at the end of this video and on the presentation. So those are the basic 3 things that I would suggest you use and you think about if you want people to catch your eyes, or if you want people to catch people's eyes to catch your advertisement. So basically, I think, at the end of the day, it's very easy for everyone says, yeah, but your advert must look like this, or it's not always. I mean, we're not all artists, etc. So I think that this is where Canva comes in terms of the eye-catching visuals, which we'll talk about at the end of the slideshow. But also, again, if your target audience, and once you first have to figure out what your target audience is, but if your target audience or likes motorbikes or cycling or whatever, and it's related to a guest house, for instance, if you know your audience mostly are cyclists, then maybe eye-catching visuals like using a cycling kind of visual can maybe pull in more clientele that is inclined to come to your guest house, because you are situated in a place where cyclists come often because of the convenience, close to the road, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So just keep an open mind in terms of eye-catching visuals, because that's a very broad concept. But basic things, again, we can do a separate session on this. Basic things, there must be clear communicating to the audience. Your receiver must know exactly what you're advertising or what you are presenting there. And it doesn't always have to be an advertisement. Maybe, as I suggested also yesterday as an example, you want to just inform your audience of what's happening in your area. Nothing stops you from just doing a quick a poll about, did it snow where you stayed over the weekend, as it did in Graaff Reinet or in New Bethesda or wherever you are from? So just keep in mind that it doesn't have to always be an advertisement, but it needs to be engaging as well. I think that can also work. Compelling offers and promotions. Obviously, you need to figure out what can you offer, what promotions can you afford and do, and then your reviews and testimonials are also something. If this is something you already know and you want more deeper information, please add that to the post-workshop survey. Some people were, and including me, are wondering, how do we determine that our social media posts are reaching our audience effectively? Number 1 can be audience demographics, making sure that you know your audience in such a way that your adverts, your social media posts is literally aligned with who they are. And I also use the example of Juliet Juliet Maintjes, who does New Bethesda social media posts, and how she kind of has looked at the social media analytics, which I'm jumping to number 5 now. I'm not really going in any particular order here, but she keeps an eye on the social media analytics, and she says, okay, doing this brings the viewers down, doing that brings it up, etc., etc. So maybe we'll get Juliet in to do some form of training for us on that and understanding the analytics. And if that's something you'd like to find out, add that to your post workshop survey. Hashtag performance is also something that you can look at to see if people are engaging with your hashtags. Are people looking at those hashtags? Are there a lot of hashtags that are similar, etc.? Audience sentiment, making sure you kind of get to know that part of your audience that is important. And then natuurlijk, my most favorite one is the surveys and feedback, because based on our feedback that we got from the audience yesterday, or the attendees from the training yesterday, I could tailor make this presentation. And this is why we're doing the presentation like this. This is why the training is actually looking like this, because this is what has come up in the responses from the survey that I sent out. It gives you insights, and that's the important part when you do surveys. And I think that's where everyone attending yesterday, perhaps, and also people maybe watching this recording, can start. Go and set up a survey. Now you can do that through anything. There's lots of platforms doing that that are free as well as paid, I'm sure. But I use Google Forms, which is a very easy way to set up a form and a survey. It's also connected to AI, so you can even let it create its own questions for you, or you can use ChatGPT. The time of us having to sit forever to set up some work or some stuff to get out to reach our audience is now much easier to manage because of technological additions to the world like OpenAI, which we will talk about obviously in other sessions, and maybe it will come up later in the presentation as well. But back to the insights of the survey, for instance, I got this out of our survey that I sent out. How interested are you in learning about online marketing strategies beyond social media, such as search engine optimization, SEOs, as I mentioned earlier on? Because this what happens here is, if someone searches online for something, Karoo food or Karoo guest house or whatever your business is, then your SEO, your search engine names or wording must be so well chosen that when people search for something specific, like a guest house where we can escape from the busy world, where there's no TV and no devices or technology, then your place must come up first, or the 10 places that offers that must come up first, for instance. So that's something we can look at. Email marketing. Well, see, there's a little typo there. I will go and fix that. But basically, this is the results. 55% were interested to do that. I think it can be because they might not know what it is. And again, don't forget, we are all insecure sometimes about these things, and that makes us unwilling to learn more about them. In fact, if you can just do the opposite and just throw yourself into it and make the effort to kind of just, even if you just read up on it or you Google it as a definition, you start teaching yourself. And I think my main message throughout yesterday's training was, also one of the main messages was, you must teach yourself as well. You must be able to find that which you need to know and just learn by yourself. Self-taught is definitely possible, especially because we've got all this information. So graphs like this gives me the information of, okay, included in my next training session, I definitely want to touch more deeper on in SEOs, but not too much, but definitely a little bit deeper, because 55% of the attendees would like to learn more about that. This is just a simple example of one of the attendees who said they would like to find out on how to reach an international African artifacts market. And I actually went and visited the shop after the training yesterday, and it was quite an amazing experience, because I walked into Karoo Curios, I think the place is called, and I was immediately amazed by the fact that I didn't know that there was such a shop in Graaff Reinet. So basically, it would be very exciting to get that shop, and whatever the shop owner wants to attempt with the shop out into the world internationally, because of the content that is in the shop, of the products that are in the shop. So, but this can not only apply for this specific person who was requesting this. I chose this example because I want you to see that this actually applies to all of us, no matter what your business is. You need to be culturally sensitive towards everyone in the world. It's a very difficult situation, because sometimes we think it's okay to say something in South Africa, but it might not be okay to say that in Europe or whatever, anywhere else. I'm not going to go into detail, you know what I mean, because there's so many things we can say wrong. I myself have put myself in situations where I would say something and then realize that might have not fallen so well on my audience's ears. So and that's okay. You're not gonna, no one's gonna blame you, I'm sure, but be sensitive about who your audience is. Again, it's all about knowing your audience, because if you can research and understand the cultural nuances of your target market, you will realize, that in a place called Timbuktu, it is normal for people to walk on their hands instead of their feet. So you are not going to say, don't be a hand walker, be a feet walker when you approach that target market, that target audience, because they'll be offended and they won't buy your products, basically. So go and do your research on that, I think. And then collaboration is important for me. We tend to be naturally, very natural, we tend to be a little bit jealous perhaps on other people, or maybe we're a bit threatened because you think we know them, they know more than you. I don't think that's the case. I think in some cases, if people know more than someone else, we can all learn from each other. So basically, collaborating with influencers and organizations. And this touches, which I neglected to speak about the other night, but yesterday, this emphasizes also paid partnerships online, which we can talk about. One of the attendees were wanting to talk about paid partnerships, which I would love to talk about more and find more out as well. So basically, the collaboration of businesses and and people in line with you and your business can really maybe benefit a bigger audience, or create a bigger audience that you currently want to have. Localization is another one, and educational content. I also mentioned that, it's not always necessary to advertise your product. Perhaps you just want to inform people about something. Did you know there are 15 countries in Africa that sells, hats made of grass. I don't know, whatever works for you. But educating people via your brand can build brand loyalty. It can build interest in your brand. It can create curiosities. The importance of online resources and platforms for business growth was one of the other things that came up in our research of what our target audience were wanting for the training yesterday. And this I say there, do you agree and do you understand? Because this is where you need to go and pinpoint, what does that mean? I don't know what that lingo means, or I don't understand that, or I don't agree with this, because that's where you can figure out where are you at in terms of your social media and marketing journey. So basically, the importance of online resources, and I'm sure everyone knows this, we'll just run through this quickly. You can, in your own time, go through it as well. But global reach is the main important thing for me. You want to reach a global market. The times are over where you just want to cater for a South African market or a local market, because it limits your business structure, unless that's what you want. That's a different story then. But think about how you can reach people globally, especially in today's world where the rand is not so great. So in other words, people come to visit us often. And places like Graaff Reinet, Aberdeen, Middelburg, New Bethesda are places that are tourist attractions. So utilize and ride that wave while we can in terms of what can you offer for global people, international visitors to our towns. 24/7 accessibility doesn't necessarily mean you are 24/7 available for your customers, but what it does mean is you can, customers or clientele can actually come to you or visit your page and see what's happening in their own time frame. So they wake up in the middle of the night, they can't sleep, they feel like they want to do a little bit of social media exploring, and there they come upon your page that is advertising properties in Graaff Reinet. And all of a sudden, they realize why they are depressed. And they are depressed because they are not living in Graaff Reinet and they want to live in Graaff Reinet. And then they start looking into your property company and they see, but this person understands her market. She understands her audience, and you identify all of a sudden with this person, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you decide to move to the Karoo, and that's all because of the 24/7 accessibility. So basically, allowing your audience to interact with your social media pages can also apply and be of benefit. Cost effectiveness, and there was someone that mentioned about why is it so expensive and cheap and costing, and those are all relative concepts. What is expensive for one person is not expensive for the other. So you must never, I would suggest, I don't want to say you must never. I just want to say, what I mean is you must avoid, perhaps is the right word, avoid assuming other people will find something expensive or cheap or whatever the case may be. Careful that your own take on what is valuable and what isn't hinders your take on social media or other platforms costing to advertise. If you think about it, and I myself had now recently an experience where CakeNet sent an email out, or someone from CakeNet, I don't know who, can't remember, sent an email out saying, we would love to advertise DT International on CakeNet. It is going to cost 30,000 Rand for 30 seconds or 15 seconds, actually, a segment of 15 seconds. And the first thing that came up to my mind was 30,000 Rand in versus 350 Rand for Facebook. And again, there's an example where I think smaller, perhaps in my mind, and other people might think 30,000 Rand is quite little for what you get. I don't know, but bottom line is, for me as a small business, I would like to rather look at cheaper options. And the second thing that came up, 15 seconds is I might just as well do a 15-second TikTok video and hashtag and at the right people, and maybe one day I will be lucky and it will be a good advertisement for my company. Whichever way you want to look at it or want to go, at the end of the day, people are, as we all have to make a living. So advertising on a platform is a service that is being delivered to you. However, it's important to pinpoint your target audience so that when you pay your 400 Rand or your 500 Rand for a 5 or 8 or 10 or 20,000 audience reach, that you reach the right audience. Otherwise, it will become an expensive, ineffective journey. Again, we come back to the data-driven insights. That is very important. Online platforms provide valuable data and analytics, enabling data-driven decision-making based on customer behavior, and engagement is very important. So here from the responses, real responses we got again from this or yesterday's training, how important is online reputation management for your business? And 75% says very important. Now that's the one I'm looking at, because if this was at a 1 or a 2, I probably would have said no. Then I think either people don't understand how important the online reputation management is for their business, or what it is, or even if maybe they wouldn't have been necessary then to do online training or training for online platforms. So this is a very positive thing for me, and it allows us to continue and focus for the next sessions on to support you in your online reputation management for your businesses. Increased visibility and brand awareness. Obviously, these are obvious things. You can go read that. Obviously, you want to be visible. You're not going to physically put your shop in a little corner behind a big tree, behind another building, behind. You want to be visible. You want to be people to see, here's a lovely shop, etc. Engagement and interaction, that is one of the other things that is important to me, and this is where one of the examples I used yesterday was a place called Stonehaven in New Bethesda, where whoever does the Facebook marketing there placed a message or a social media post that said, which one do you prefer, braaibroodjies or roosterkoek? And there were 5 comments that someone has that people have responded, which means that person successfully got engagement, successfully engaged with their audience. Doesn't matter if there's just 5. It can only be 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it can be 10. Maybe it can be one day 1,000. Bottom line is there's engagement happening, because the post is not only just about a guest house. The post is also about, but what does the audience that's looking at these posts look like and feel like and want to eat and enjoy eating and enjoy doing? I think tap into that with your audience and interact with your audience. Don't be afraid of them. It's very important to not be afraid of them. All right, then we're moving on to benefits of online resources and platforms. Now, again, I'm sure this comes very natural for all of us. There must be easy things that we can think of that are benefits. So let's explore this a little bit. Social media, the benefits: cost-effective advertising, real-time customer interaction, brand promotion, reaching a large audience, viral potential. But the drawbacks can be negative reviews or comments, time-consuming to manage, algorithm changes impacting organic reach. So there are some vocab there, terminology there that we can look at in future sessions if that's something you want to look at. But I think the most common one is the negative reviews or comments. And as I said yesterday to everyone, you're not alone. You're not the only one that happens to. People are critical. People are frustrated. People goes through bad days. People have bad experiences. People have bad experiences from other guest houses or other restaurants or other businesses, and then they will somehow immediately portray or project that onto you and your business. There are ways to hide those comments on Facebook, I'm sure, which we can also explore if you'd like. But at the end of the day, managing those are more important. Speaking to those people if they are open to it and say, listen, please can I rectify the situation in any way? I don't want to go the route of saying the customer is always right, because I think we all know the customer isn't necessarily always right anymore. And if someone disagrees with that, please feel free, because remember, you can disagree. It doesn't matter if you disagree. I agree if you disagree. Because I just feel in my business, if I don't put my foot down, I get clientele, in my case, parents and students, who take advantage of the situation. They will, in my situation, avoid coming to classes, and at the end of the year they don't pass their subjects, and I sit with the gebakte pere. And then if I don't put my foot down in the beginning of the year, these events happen often, and parents then somehow get upset with us because why is the pupil not passing? And my point is, at the end of the day, we can bring you to the water, and if you don't drink it, then there's nothing we can do further. So I'm very strict and very harsh and maybe a little bit new school when it comes to businesses like that. And maybe that's why my business is growing slowly. But doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I am happy And that's been more important for me. I want to be happy doing what I'm doing. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to feel that people are constantly riding this wave of online education in my situation now, and there's no benefit for me in terms of I'm feeling that I'm doing the right thing, or I'm building on the child's educational career. If you can just adapt that to your own business. Obviously, you're not in education necessarily. That's fine. It still comes down to you must always, as long as there is an element of you being having the idea that the customer is right. I think there's also a limit, and I think it's time for people to take responsibility and educate your clientele as well. You can do that by saying, in a survey or in a post, what to do when our staff is not responding according to what you want, and then you can give them some advice on what to follow. Communication is key here, especially with social media as well, because and your advertisements on there, because if you are going to communicate to your audience that you are this and that, and they come and they have a different experience, then obviously you're going to get some negative responses. Online booking systems, the benefits: streamlined booking process, reduced administrative work, improved customer satisfaction because it goes quickly, 24/7 availability. Drawbacks: technical glitches or downtime, potential third-party dependency, limited personalization. It can also, there was one of the queries from the attendees yesterday were, what about internet safety? That is a concern for everyone, I'm sure. I have always been quite aware of what happens on my Gmail and on my mailing systems and my social media. You should be getting in communication rather. You should be getting communication from that platform, those platforms, or the relevant platform, if someone else is trying to log in. So the security is set up in such a way, as far as I've seen and I've known and experienced, that if someone tries to enter any of my things, I get a notification and even a location of from where they are doing it. So if it's from anywhere else in the world that you don't know anyone that's working for you there, then that is a red flag. So it's not only about, you mustn't fear it. You mustn't fear the safety as well. You must also, empower yourself to know what to look out for. And we can also look at internet safety in another session. And the last one that I'm looking at, and this one I also mentioned specifically to the attendees yesterday, because this one for me has changed my career completely. For the first time in my life, I can now spend time on social media, marketing strategies, etc., a plan of action for your marketing strategy. In the next sessions that we do, we're going to look at planning and structuring your marketing strategies. But for now, just remember that the OpenAI, ChatGPT, or any other OpenAI sources, and there are many negative things people are saying about it, but I'm telling you, from my experience, we can either go with this or you can leave it. There's no one is forcing you to use it. But in the early 1900s, or whenever that was, I don't know when they did it, but this is what my principal at one of my principals at one of the online schools that I teach at said to us when he encouraged us to use ChatGPT. He said, there were a time in the education where the teachers went to the streets because a calculator was introduced to the classroom. Now let that sink in quickly. A calculator, even in my younger days, it was a bit frowned upon if you use a calculator, but I don't, unless you are a mathematician and you are like maths, or you like maths, or whatever the case may be, I use a calculator quite often. So calculators are definitely a good example here. So don't stare yourself blind into the dangers of what people, or the fake news of what people are saying about ChatGPT. Go find out for yourself what it is and go figure out if it can help you. It definitely can help you in terms of you can enter anything in ChatGPT to ask for assistance. So you can say to ChatGPT, please give me 5 hashtags that relates to my business. And then you give ChatGPT the breakdown of your business, what your business is. And ChatGPT will give you your hashtags. And you can use those hashtags over and over and over again. So benefits, instant customer support, consistent responses, time saving, scalability. Available 24/7. Drawbacks, limited understanding of complex queries, potential lack of empathy, initial setup, and maintenance required. Now, that as much as those are drawbacks, it is not a bad thing for me because I'm now learning how this is working. So now I need to set it up first, initial setup. That's not necessarily a drawback. It's actually forcing you to think about what do you want in order to put that prompt into the chatbot. But again, you can talk about that. You can mention that you want to learn more about that in next session so that we can. Possible methods for pinpointing the target client base. So this is what another thing was, one of the responses. How do we pinpoint our target client base? And I think we've kind of covered it a little bit, but just a refresher. You conduct a market research, use surveys, interviews, data analysis to understand potential customers, identify your demographics, preferences, and pain points. What do they like? What do they not like? Analyze competitors. Why don't you look at your competitors? I never used to do that. I didn't want to do it. I was afraid they do something better than me. It's so interesting how we sometimes don't want to look at our competitors because just now they are more successful than us. But it's okay. They can. We allow them to be if they are. Everyone's equally as successful depending on I'm sure what your attitude is. But analyzing your competitors is important because I now have my business as a DT International Academy has changed from being called an online school in the last 5 years to or 10 years or whatever, however long we've done online, to an online cloud learning center, because my competitors, Iva Global, whom I actually work for as well, or Teneo is an online school, UCT's online school, those are supposedly my competitors. They are more aligned to kind of provide a structured teaching day as you would find in a conventional school environment. In other words, you arrive at school at 8 and you leave school at 2. So you've got lessons from 8 to 2 and breaks in between. We don't do that. DT International don't do that. We say to this, our clientele, our students, or our student body consists of children who are either very much more inclined to be a professional tennis player one day. So they have already started with playing tennis from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and then they only attend their schooling by themselves or with a tutor. So my demographic is much different from that which of Iva Global, for whom I'm also working. So it's a very interesting situation. You might be a guest house somewhere, but that doesn't mean you have the same demographic and the same clientele that the other guest house is pulling. So if everyone can realize that everyone has got at least, a equal slice of the cake in terms of clientele, because if there's so many different types of people in the world, and you can pinpoint your advertising towards that, then you'll be fine. Then you are going to cover your immediate environment type of person who will be your brand loyal customer, who will come back to you, who will enjoy the structure how you do things in a certain way, if that makes sense. All right, create buyers personas. Very important to understand your customer very well, and what would how would you like your customer to look like or be like, and focus on that. And remember, going back to that, if you're going to create that persona for you in your mind, then you'll know immediately. If someone contacts you, again, I'm using myself as an example, please adapt it to your own situation. But if someone contacts me, I get that a lot. A mom phones me and she says she's very interested in getting her son extra lessons, or a daughter extra lessons, Afrikaans extra lessons, because they're really struggling, and then I say it's 100%. This is how we work, and then they say okay, and then I don't hear from them again. And then a week, 2 weeks later, they phone me again and say, no, they just want to double check now, can they begin? And I said, yes, but remember, you need to do this, this, and this now. And then I don't hear from them again. So that's when I realize this person and I are not going to go well together. So I am willing, in my situation, I'm willing then to let that client go, because it doesn't help I squeeze out of someone that they don't want to do, something that they don't want to do. So keep that in mind as well. If you know your customer, you'll know what to say. You'll identify customers that are going to waste your time, basically. Utilize online analytics. Again, a session on its own, but you can literally look at those online analytics and see get the insights that you require to build your brand. Remember that successful marketing strategies involve continuous testing, learning, and adapting based on feedback and results. The key is to remain customer-centered and align marketing's efforts with the needs and interests of the target audience. And that sums it up for me, because that is what we kind of have done. And then at the end, the last little bit that I want to show you is Canva, but not Canva itself. I want to show you something else. I can now sit and reinvent the wheel here and teach you how to use Canva, or I can give you a link to a gamification platform called Kahoot. There's many, but Kahoot is one. And you can go and learn yourself how to use Canva, because it doesn't help us sit and teach you a lesson on Canva if the whole internet is filled with Canva tutorials, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. It might not work for you if you click on this link immediately, because you might have to register for Kahoot. But please be aware that some Kahoot options are for free and some are not. But you can kind of manage with the free Kahoot for now until you want to explore more courses that you want to pay for. There is the link to the Canva one for you as well, if you want to download that on your app, on your phone, and register through that so that you can play around on Canva. Perhaps having that on your phone or on your laptop first before you do the Kahoot game will help you. And there's the link to Kahoot, directly to Kahoot, if you want to go and register for that. I use it educationally to teach my students certain things. You obviously can either use it for yourself to learn something, because you can follow courses there, or you can use it to create your own Kahoot games so that you can go and teach your staff about something. Perhaps you can find, or you can make a Kahoot game that teaches them how to approach a customer when the customer is rude or whatever. What do you do in this situation? Do you A, scream at them back? Do you B, file a lawsuit? C, phone a friend? Or D, all of the above, kind of thing. And then that's how you can train your staff as well. But that's something different. So there's so many things you can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link, and then it will take us through to the Kahoot game. Now, again, on your side, you'll probably have to register first. I'm already registered. I'm going to immediately go in and enter my nickname. I'm going to somewhat call it Dani. You can call it whatever. And this is one of the many STEAM basic learning games that you can follow. So there it starts. I've got 20 questions. It's 20 seconds per question. And I'm going to begin. I'm going to quickly just start a little bit with it with you, and then you can go and explore this by yourself. So it says the first one, you want to start a new project. Where do you click to start quickly? Okay, so now they ask, where do you want to click? Where must you click to start a new project? Now, I can't remember exactly. I think it's this one. I'm just going to choose yellow. And it says correct. Okay, so it is a bit small, but remember, once you know the Canva platform, once you've explored the Canva platform, this should come a bit easier. And then you simply click next to go to the next question. What homepage shortcut will display recommended templates? And then let's look at the recommended templates there. What shortcut should it look like? I think it might be this one. I think I'm wrong. Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, dig deep into the next one. Okay, so the right answer was that one. So now I'm learning from my mistake here. And I go, okay, I see it's that icon. So now when I go to Canva, I hopefully will remember the icon. Oh, that's the icon I want to see some templates from, or get some recommended templates from. This is just another way of getting to know a program. It's a course. There's many of these courses on Kahoot. You don't even have to start here. You can first start with more basics if you'd like, depending on what you like. I'm not going to continue now because obviously I think you get the idea, but that is what it is about, what the Kahoot is about. And unfortunately, yesterday, we couldn't complete it in class, but in the session. But I think everyone else, everyone that was there went home and quickly did go and look at the Kahoot. Or if they didn't, they'll do it again at some point. But that's a nice place to start with Canva. Canva is simply a platform where you can literally create anything visual. And you can use all there's free templates, there's free pictures. You don't have to buy the purchased one. You can use the free one until you feel now it's time for you to step up the game. Okay. If you have any questions, you are welcome to email me. My email is on the professional profile link at the end of this session, and at the end of the slideshow. Or you can WhatsApp me. Then my number is also on the link to my professional profile. And you can ask a question anytime, and I will answer you. If you would like to join a WhatsApp group in terms of learning, things, short little things on WhatsApp, please also drop me a message if you're interested in that. I don't think that we need to do that, but if that's something that if there's 10 people asking me the same question, I'd rather create a group and then say, okay, here's the question, here's the answer, for instance, and we can look at something like that. Please, can I ask you, if you didn't attend in person yesterday, obviously you weren't involved in the nuances and the lovely vibe that was there, but if you want to, you can fill out this form, because this form then gives us some feedback into tailor making the next session that is for you. I thank you very much that you joined this recorded session, and I'm sure we will see you in person at the next session on the 4th of August at 10 a.m. at the Graaff Reinet Tourism Offices. Bring your cell phone, bring your laptop if you don't mind, and bring your own data, because sometimes the Wi-Fi lets us down. So I think that would be important as well. Otherwise, bring a notebook and a pen. You make your notes. You do get your presentation at the end as well. So everything is on there. And that was my resources I used for today to compile this presentation for you. And I look forward to seeing you at our next session. Goodbye.